Have you ever had that feeling that there is more to life than this? More joy, more love, more connection, more pleasure, more aliveness, more of you. Because that has been one of the questions that guided almost my entire life. And for years, I thought the answer was to become more spiritual, to awaken, whatever that means, to meditate more, to transcend my ego, to detach from my desires, to rise above my human self. Until I discovered a philosophy, a way of living that turned everything upside down. And that is Tantra. Welcome to the Embodied Witch, my love. My name is Sabine and I am your podcast host. Today we are in the third episode of the Embodied Witch. And I think it's time to get a little bit more juicy here. So if you've been listening to the first and the second episode, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. I loved reading all your comments on Spotify and how this podcast already moved you. Or sending me a message, how this episode resonated with you. And also perhaps what you would love to explore more. What topic really speaks to you, to your soul, to your heart, to your womb. Where you're yes, let's go. So today, we're gonna dive into a really, really juicy topic. And it is about one of the biggest things that I think that modern spirituality often gets wrong. That teaches us to leave actually our body in order to become spiritual, awakened. And this is what I spent years trying to do. When I started my spiritual journey, I started with yoga, getting into the body, which was such a powerful gateway and realizing that there's so much more than just my mind and the thoughts that's going on and on and on. From yoga, I went into meditation and I learned to meditate. I even became a meditation teacher. And there are many different beautiful ways of meditation. But I felt like the more I delved into becoming a spiritual seeker, the more I was trying to transcend my desires, my needs, my human self. I wanted to go into my soul self, the soul side. And I do believe we're all souls having a human experience. But for a long time, I was just I'm just in my soul side. Love and light and peace, it's all there is. Everything else I need to learn to detach from. And it felt for me that this was the overall teaching in the spiritual world that I got into. I even did, I think my first Vipassana meditation, I think it's been 4 or 5 years ago now. I'm actually not sure. It was right after COVID. And so everyone who's new to Vipassana, it's a 10-day silent retreat. So you go there for 10 days, you learn Vipassana. It's in complete silence. You meditate, I think 10, 12 hours every day. It is very intense. And one of the big teaching of my experience in it was everything is always changing, which is true. So we shouldn't get attached or desire certain things. We need to transcend it. We need to kind of almost be above it. It's you long for something, it will be taken away, and this is going to cause you suffering. So if you learn to detach, no more suffering. But I realized when I was actually sitting there, but then what's the point of being human? I can meditate all day and I can learn how to control my mind, which is such a powerful tool. But don't I want to feel alive? Don't I want to feel the joy and the sorrow. They really had to feel guilty about pleasure, about feeling arousal, and some of the sweetest pleasures that we can have. And something wasn't sitting right with me. I was like, I want to enjoy beautiful sunset, and yes, I know it will disappear. But is the answer really to kind of like almost leave my human side and go fully in the soul side? No. Tantra taught me that my body, my desires, my longings, my pleasure wasn't the obstacle. It is the doorway actually to connect with the divine, with source, with consciousness. Now, Tantra, it isn't about like some weird sex workshops or play parties. It's not about performing sexuality. For me, Tantra is saying yes to life, saying yes to your human self. Because we have this human incarnation right now for a reason, not to transcend it, but to actually use it as a portal, as a gateway to remember our divinity. The divine, God, is not something outside of you. It's not something above you. It is something inside of you. It is something that you can connect to every moment, every breath, every inhale, every exhale is a gateway to your true essence. So Tantra is a way to say yes to life, to say yes to your body, to say yes to your grief, to say yes to your joy, to your desires, to your sensuality, and to your humanity. And yes, Tantra includes sacred sexuality. And I'm going to talk about this in a moment. But Tantra is so much more. It's a philosophy, a way of living and seeing and approaching life that allows you to be more. The more that we are so often looking for is not outside of us. It is within us. It is in every moment where we choose to be alive, to connect with the energy, with the consciousness that moves through us in every second of life. Whew. And so a big part of living a tantric life or an alive life is feeling your emotions. Whereas I felt from my personal experience that some other spiritual teachings asked me to detach and transcend my emotions, Tantra does not ask you to get rid of your emotions. It is actually quite the opposite. It asks you to become so intimate with your emotions because every emotion is a doorway into the divine. Your anger, your grief, your desire, your joy, your love, your fear, they are all an invitation to meet yourself more deeply. Every single emotion is a gateway to the divine, to consciousness. It is not about getting rid of your emotions, about not feeling them, but allowing yourself to feel them fully and then let them go. Do not get attached. One of the most powerful practices, and I do something similar in my heart chakra opening workshop, is tapping into the different emotions for a limited amount of time. For example, 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to feel and express all your anger. You let it fully out. You scream, you cry, you punch. And once the 3-minute bell rings, you go to joy. You experience the love, the sweetness, the ecstasy of life. 3 minutes. And then you go to sadness. 3 minutes. All the pain that you haven't been feeling, you let it go. And then you move into your sensuality. Your most sensual, seductive self. And what this teaches you is that it's all these emotions, they're not good or bad or positive or negative. They're all part of your human experience. And we can all tap into them and use them to meet ourselves more fully. Because here's the thing, an emotion is energy in motion. If we don't allow ourselves to feel our emotions, they get stuck within us and then cause dis-ease, disconnection, this longing for looking for something outside of us to fill what is actually inside of us. So every emotion is a beautiful invitation to feel the aliveness of your being, feeling alive in joy and feeling alive in sadness. Now here's the thing, so often we have difficulties to feel, I like to call them the more challenging emotions, such as grief, anger, or sadness, or loneliness. Because often we haven't been taught how to be with our emotions, how to co-regulate, and how to self-regulate ourselves. So when these emotions come up, it can feel very overwhelming. So we suppress them, we numb them out. But here's the thing. If you want to be fully alive, if you want to experience joy and love and abundance in your life, it's like a pendulum that needs to swing in both ways. If you don't allow yourself to feel the sadness, the sorrow that you will encounter at some point in your life, you cannot swing into the other side fully, into the joy, into the love, into the beauty that is also part of your human experience. And Tantra teaches us to embrace it all, both sides. Now here's the thing. Often we are afraid of feeling grief or sadness or loneliness. But also quite the opposite can be possible. We can also actually struggle or be afraid to feel joy, to feel pleasure, to feel desire, the feeling of being fully alive. Because perhaps you grew up where it wasn't safe to feel alive, where joy and love wasn't something that was just given to you because you are. It was perhaps something that was attached to other. Maybe joy actually felt very elusive. So your nervous system hasn't fully learned yet to actually feel safe in the joy, to trust that it's available to you. And this is often your body protecting you. And there can be like a million reasons for this, the way we grew up, the culture, society, conditioning, the relationships, the influence that we experience. But the invitation is to use Tantra to embrace it all. And then also to learn to create safety within you, within your nervous system, because your nervous system will always default to what it knows, to what's familiar. No matter if this is good or bad, if this actually brings you closer to the life you want to live, it doesn't matter for your nervous system. All that matters for your nervous system is if it's familiar, because what's familiar is what keeps us safe. So when we want to invite in more aliveness, we also need to bring in our nervous system, taking small steps where we more and more allow ourselves to embody the joy that we can access. Now, there's also the lovemaking that is very special about Tantra. And in Tantra, in sacred sexuality, we can use the lovemaking as a gateway to the divine, to consciousness, to meet ourselves, the other, and together meet God. In Tantra, lovemaking is sacred union between you and your partner and the divine. It is not about performance, about getting to a climax. This is not the goal in Tantra. The goal is presence. How present can you be, first of all, with yourself, with the other, and the magic that happens between both of you? When we play with our sexual energy, we create a circle of energy that then connects us to the other and to something so much bigger. This is where you really tap into, allow the flow of energy to move through your whole body, and not only in the lower part of your body, like through your spine, through all your energy centers, through your chakra, until it reaches to the crown of your head and connects you to the divine. So Tantra is actually a lot about energy. And I'm an energy healer. And I was like, oh my God, how did I not see this? Tapping into your sexual energy is one of the most powerful energies and life forces that you can connect you. It's where you create, where you manifest, where you bring your desires into life. And your sexual energy is not something that you need to overcome or suppress. It is your connection to the more, to the divine. It's like consciousness moving through you. It is not something separate. And when we come into this sacred union, it's the most transcendent experience, but not because we're just transcending our human self. It's because we use our human self to reach state of bliss, of ecstasy. And only when I dove into Tantra, I unlocked a completely new level. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, because there is so much more. And I want everyone to experience this. And what if being spiritual means to be the most fucking wild impression of yourself? It is not about being able to sit in meditation for an hour or even longer, to not just be love and light and peace, but to also tap into this fire, into this wildness that you carry within you, and to really experience the pleasure of being alive. And sexual pleasure is one expression of it. But not only. How about the pleasure of eating? Eating the sweetest strawberry, eating some delicious dark chocolate. The pleasure of dancing. Oh my God, I freaking love ecstatic dancing. It's like a whole energy movement practice where I connect with the divine. The pleasure of just moving freely. The pleasure of sunlight. Are you actually really aware and present how it feels to feel the sun on your skin? The pleasure of the ocean, the nature, and the pleasure of just breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Your breath can be one of the most powerful doorways into pleasure. So maybe if you've been on a journey but life actually has felt flat. Maybe you've been trying to heal so hard that you've forgotten to actually live. So what if the more you've been searching for isn't somewhere else, but in how fully you are willing to experience life, with the ups and downs, the joy, the beauty, the sorrow, the pain, saying yes to it all, and to allow yourself to savor the sweetness and the pleasure in all the different forms it comes in life. For years, I thought spirituality was about becoming less human. But Tantra taught me that the divine is found by becoming more fully human.